Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line presented by Offside News. My name is Emma, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, Marcie.
Hello.
We're back.
Back we are.
I've got a new background. I'm back in the big green chair.
Yeah, it's a change.
It's a shame. Well, this time last year, I was also in the big green chair, so
Yeah. I've missed the big green chair.
I love the big green chair. It's very comfortable for
It
me.
does look like just a proper chair.
It's a proper armchair, that's for sure. Speaking of green, the Leafs were in Dallas to take on the Stars last night.
How long have you had that?
Actually, no, that one I came up with on the fly. I'm really proud of myself for that one, though.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should be.
Yeah, Leafs taking on Dallas in Dallas. There was a couple of important key matchups here in both lineups. It was the first time Ilya Lyubushkin was playing against the Leafs since last playing for the Leafs last season.
Mm.
Because I honestly forgot he was in Dallas until they were like, and Ilya Lyubushkin drives towards the net, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Right.
It's like I forgot he was here. But um, in terms of goaltending, I think that was kind of one of the marquee matchups was Joseph Wool against Jake Ottinger for the first time in their NHL careers. They're playing against each other, but those two have known each other for a long time. They came up together through the U.S. National Development Program and played for Team USA at U17s, U18s, and World Juniors, so U20s. So all sorts of
Best
their
friend.
time as teammates there, and then they played against each other in college,
Mm.
where Joseph Wool was playing for Boston College and Jake Oncher was playing for Boston University. Classic. And then now here they are facing off against each other in the NHL for the first time.
Oh, they grow up so fast.
Yeah, it also was a brother matchup. We had Nick Robertson going up against his brother Jason, and the record very much heavily leans in Nick Robertson's favor.
Yeah.
The Dallas Stars have not won a game where it is the two Robertson brothers playing against each other against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Damn.
Right? Can you imagine losing losing to your
Every
brother
single time.
every single time?
Oh, I'd
Like
cry.
not even scoring a goal against your brother's team, but you lose to him every single time.
Oh, that's that's gotta like hurt.
It absolutely, yeah. Also in terms of just some lineup changes, David Kampf came off of IR. So he's in the lineup replacing Connor Dewar. Now I have qualms with this decision
Hmm.
because why? And I know you could be like, oh, but Craig Berube, this is just how he does it. I know you can say, oh, like, but like, why is Ryan Reeves in the lineup over Connor Dewar?
Hmm.
You would think Lawrence, Kampf, and Dewar, that is your fourth line. Because that is a
Yeah.
fourth line that's like good.
Hmm.
And before it's
But
like, oh, Ryan Reeves, but like for fight, he hasn't fought anyone this season.
no.
Like 9 times out of 10, most teams don't have a guy in his weight class who's willing to fight him. And like, you're like, oh, but who will fight? Connor Dewar, notably, will fight even though he'll lose.
Yeah.
Like that was his whole thing in Minnesota, is him and Duane, they would fight whoever, even though they would lose.
Yeah. It's like
I
I
just
don't know
I
why.
don't I don't know what Connor Dewar or even not Connor Dewar, but I don't know what Ryan Reeves and Max Domi even have on Craig Berube, what dirt they have that they can stay in the lineup.
It must be something like mega.
Well, you could. I know some people are like, oh, but Reeves, because you don't really want that much money just like sitting. I'm like, well,
You also don't
Dewar's
want
not
that
get
on the ice.
Yeah, but also it's like, well, it's not Craig Bruba's fault for signing him to that contract. That's all
Mm.
Brad Treliving. That's like just a bad contract. I don't know. I don't get it because it's like
No.
it's Connor Dewar hasn't been playing badly at all.
Mm.
So why are you keeping him out of the lineup?
The people need to know.
The people need to know because like I'm surprised no one has like I don't know why no one has asked this question of Craig Berube being like, hey, why
Mm.
is Connor Dewar out of the lineup despite his how strong he's been playing. But in other lineup changes as well, the first line was stocked full of talent where Craig Berube decided to go with Marner, Matthews, and Nylander on that top line. Like for the three of them starting for the first time, like they put it up the last time like those three started like a game together because they did. And it was like Andreas Johansson was on that lineup.
Time has passed. No. Hold up, gonna sneeze.
Oh well.
That hurt my nose.
Oh bless you. There was just an awkward silence. No one said
Oh,
anything.
sorry for the awkward silence.
But yeah, like you have to go so far back for that one. Where because it's like sorry, I'm like thinking about that. I'm like anyways. Moving on from that. That does move Matthew Nyes. All right, down to the second line with John Tavares and Max Pacioretty. Cool.
Sure.
Um, let's get into the game though, because Toronto had a slow start to this game
Yeah.
where I literally sat there and I was like, oh, so it's gonna be one of those games again where they're gonna get ridiculously outshot, and we're all gonna be sitting here being like, why aren't they shooting? And they end up winning anyways. Spoiler alert for this. I mean, I guess if you're like, sorry to ruin the surprise, we're gonna talk about it in like 20 minutes. But like it was at the first period, the shots on goal for the first period. Let me just pull these up because they're like something else. I'm
It
telling
was
you.
it was genuinely baffling.
The shots on goal for the first period, 16-4 for Dallas.
Yeah.
And the game was tied 1-1 going into first intermission. Like, I will say, yes, okay, Jake Onger did not have a good game, and some of that was just like the Stars defense was doing nothing to protect him from high danger chances. But
Mm. That was like his seventh start in a row.
and that also was his seventh start in the row. Unfortunately, it was his birthday as well.
Poor guy. I was sad. I was like, damn, if I had to go through that on my birthday.
While you're playing against like on the other side of the ice is like your really good friend who you know is going like okay maybe not because it's Joseph Wool but like you don't know maybe he's gonna be like oh dude like you owe me dinner loser pays.
Oh, and it's just like, happy birthday, me. I have to stand there and suffer whilst the rest of my team gets absolutely dicked. And there's nothing I can do about it.
It's just bad like the Leafs like the most shots the Leafs got in a period was 8 and that was in the second period and that is still less than the most amount of shots that the Stars got in a period which was 9.
I love the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Go team.
Because, like, sure, why not?
Whatever it's fine.
Oh,
All right. Yeah. Okay. But it just, I will say though, like, not even not even just like not getting a lot of shots on goal, but also just like by allowing this many more, you're
Mm,
putting so much workload on Joseph Woll in a time where he already is going to be facing an increased workload.
yeah. And what happened last time we overworked our goalies, Emma?
I was sat in the 300s of the Canadian Tire Center, really considering the options of, jumping off the edge.
And I was beginning my slow descent into madness. So yeah, don't overwork your goalies, guys. Top tip. So yeah, why the Leafs are the way that they are.
I don't know. But like as if it couldn't get any worse. Max Domi opens the scoring for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I wish you could have seen my face.
I looked at I was like,
Oh, I was just sat there and I was like sat on my phone, so like accurate recreation. I was sat on my phone. I look up. Oh yay, the Leafs scored. Fuck me.
Max Domi. His second goal of the season is also his first time scoring in back-to-back games for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Good job, Max. It's one of those things where it's like I've spent 30 games shitting on this man.
No, like legit, I have only recently publicly come out as like a Max Domi hater, and then he goes and does this.
Oh, what do you mean? Oh, you were recent? No, I've been there since day one.
You know,
Longtime
yeah,
listeners of the show will know that I have never appreciated Max Domi. Not never
no,
appreciated. I've never liked Max Domi.
yeah, it's like I don't think I've ever really tweeted about it. So my
Meanwhile,
hatred
I'm
for
here on the
him,
podcast being like, screw Max Domi.
my hatred for him has been restricted to the podcast. And then in the last few weeks, I've decided, you know what? I should be my authentic self. I need to let the people know how much I hate this man. And now he decides to start scoring.
It's like the worst part too, because it's like, oh, look, like, Max Domi, he's always been the answer for like third line center that leaves it, where it's like, no,
Oh, he's not.
no, he's not.
Just because he gets a magical woo amulet and it actually kind of does something. It's the amulet's goal, not his.
It's the ambulance.
The amulet was on the ice, skates on, scoring that goal. Not Max Domi. Like, if he's allowed to believe in whatever that amulet does, I'm allowed to believe that he's not actually on the ice and it is just the amulet fooling us all.
Oh, yeah. It's like one of those things where I'm like, I don't like that this is working.
No, no. Can he go back to being really bad?
Um, yeah. What else do I have written down here? This is kind of just an overall like least the penalties also were very tilted in Dallas's favor.
Mm,
Um, Now some of that also is because of the fact of just Leafs were committing more penalties. Um, Connor Timmins took two that he absolutely should not have. And they were just boneheaded penalties where I'm sitting there, I'm
mm.
like, why are we taking dumb penalties? They were like back to back too. It's like Leafs kill off the first bad Connor Timmins penalty. Literally 30 seconds later, Connor Timmins is back in the box for another bad Connor Timmins penalty. And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, this is the guy we kept Timothy Liljegren over.
Maybe I should start tweeting about how much I don't like Connor Timmins. Maybe then he'll get good.
It's like the thing where it's like we traded Timothy Lilligren for this. And the problem is because Hakanpää is like rehabbing his knee so he can like rise for the dead for Four Nations, play in Four Nations, and then like disappear back into the ether. We are like seventh defenseman that you're like, oh, Connor Timmins isn't really working out. Is Philippe Myers, which nothing against Philippe Myers. It's just
It's Philippe Myers.
it's Philippe Myers. Like nothing against him. It's just it's like
He's not the answer.
we had Timothy Lilligren.
Even thinking about the fact that we got rid of Lilligren fills me with so much rage.
We can move on then to some more goals. William Nylander
Really?
scores to in the William Nylander scores in the second period, his 19th of the season to tie it up, and it is just one of those goals where you go, yeah, William Nylander is a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Yeah. You just sit, you watch it, you go, damn, that was a good goal. Then they show the replay, and you're like, damn, that was a good goal.
And especially too because it was right off the rush, like coming back the other way into toward like into Dallas' zone after Joseph Woll made a huge save.
Huge save.
He was making all sorts of those huge saves. My favorite part is like he was asked about it. Joseph Woll was asked about it post game, just like, oh, like when you make a big save like that, like do you like look at the puck afterwards, being like, yeah, that was a good one, and he was like, actually, yeah, like you have a second of like, oh, that was a good save, and then you get right back into the game.
Oh, oh, Joseph. He's so silly.
Yeah. And also as well, Nick Robertson had a big night as well, scoring a goal in which that's just like him battling it out, right? Like he has it, puck gets poked out from his stick, and then he just like doesn't give up.
He works for it.
He worked for it. Um, and then battles back, gets the shot on from like a little bit of a distance, and just and then the shot because his parents were there too, so the shot of his mom, I think his mom's dad and his brother. There's another Robertson brother, but three of them just like standing clapping, and his mom has like so she always what his mom does always is like she'll wear the jersey of the home team and then the hat of the away team. So she's got her like Dallas Stars jersey on with her Leafs hat. It was really cute, okay?
It's so cute. I was watching it like, I'm gonna cry.
They very much like probably moved them there so that like for like TV purposes because they were just like standing, right?
Yeah, they were just kind of just there.
So they're standing. Sorry, it's like they were standing on a concourse somewhere. It was
But it was so cute.
It was so cute. And that's Nick Robertson's third goal against the Dallas Stars when he plays against his brother.
Oh, like Jason Robertson is not living this down.
No, he's
Ever.
not.
Like, they're both back home for dinner, and like they're sat there, and Jason's just like, yeah, good season so far. And then Nick's just like, yeah, I've scored a lot on you. Like, I'm just picturing how it'd go down if it was like me and my sister.
Just yeah.
It's
So
brutal.
much bigger. But yeah, and to really solid, like to really, seal up the deal on a really solid night from the third line, which offensively has produced quite a bit in the past two games. Bobby
Mm.
McMahon gets a goal,
Bobby!
and it was a big night for me personally, who has Bobby McMahon in fantasy. So
Huge night.
in our offside league, I have Bobby McMahon.
Brilliant.
Like when you do a league with like 26 people, you get into the like Blorbos near the end
Oh, yeah.
of the draft. Like you're looking and you're like, I don't know any of these guys.
It's like, that's someone's little fourth line blower. I love that for them.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
it was just, the third line was just on something.
yeah,
Like, they were having a crazy night.
yeah, they were having I wanna I would love to I wonder how they would do defensively. I believe they weren't really trusted in a lot of defensive situations, which is valid when you look at the way that the line is built, where it's like Nick Robertson, one of his weaknesses is his lack of defense.
Mm,
Max Domi cannot play defense, and then you have Bobby McMahon. So it's like there's not really you're not really starting them in your own zone a whole lot. But
mm,
in terms of providing that like depth scoring when like the other two lines, aren't really, going that well and that's there, then that's really helpful. But the Leafs still need a third line center at the deadline.
yeah.
That's still going into the playoffs, the problem that they're going to have to address, which is fine.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure they will. It's rumored that they are apparently they know which center they want, and they are apparently trying to acquire him. Trent Frederick, Trent Frederick, Trent Frederick.
We just need a team of, like, Joseph Hall's
Joseph
friends.
was best friends.
The friendship team.
You
They
can
really.
have that be your fantasy team for next year.
Oh my. Yeah.
And it's just a team of Joseph Wool's friends.
Joseph Hall and buddies.
Yeah, and because William Nylander has had a two-goal night, because of course, yeah, sure, why not? And just it's
Yeah,
like the
William.
quietest William Nylander two-goal night too. Like I know one of the
True.
goals is an empty net, so like people are like, oh well, it's still a goal.
Still a goal.
And yeah, just and also as well as like, had it was not like the easiest empty net goal in the world to get either, but got the job done, two-goal night casually. It also puts him at 20 goals already on the season. We have not even reached Christmas yet.
Okay, William.
There is more than half of the season still left to go. So him hitting 40 for the first time in his career would be is a really real possibility,
Mm,
which is huge.
huge.
He's
Exciting.
had, yeah, a really exciting start to his season. Um, Yeah, what else I have here? Big game from Joseph Wool. He faced 39 shots and stopped 36 of them. That gives him a save percentage on the game of a 927, which is better than Jake Ottinger because he was pulled from the game after the end of the second period.
And I just want to say, whoever decided to show us that shot of Jake Oettinger just kind of sat there on the bench after being pulled, you are evil. That was sick and twisted. It's the poor guy's birthday, and he's out here looking like someone just shot his dog in front of him.
He got, yeah, allowed, what, 4 goals on like 12 shots?
Oh, Jake.
That's brutal.
Not his finest.
No. And you have to then put in Casey DeSmith, which is a Dallas Star.
Because, yeah,
Did
sure.
you did you know that?
No. I was sat and I'm like, wait, shit. He's the other goalie. And then they put him in, and I was like, when did this happen?
July 1st.
Oh, July 1st was so long ago, though. You can't expect me to remember that. But no, it was crazy. But yeah, you know what? You learn something new every day.
I thought I put it in my show notes and I didn't, so that's on me. I was gonna say I was like, we talked about it on the podcast, but no, it's not in my notes, so I don't think we did then.
No. It's like one of those things that just like completely just I remained unaware of.
And then he shows up when he plays your team. But yeah, like the Leafs need to get more shots on goal. And I feel like I sound repetitive when I say that, where I'm like, shoot the puck.
But like shoot the puck.
Like it's a thing. It's like because you can't keep having to rely on like okay, yes, you need him to make big saves, but like you also need to provide offense because you're now going to go into a stretch where Anthony Stolarz is out long term, like
Hmm.
4 to 6 weeks, which some people were like, well, we won't see him till after Four Nations. And I was like, oh no. When you put it that way, scary.
Yeah.
Um, and so you're going to rely on Joseph Woll a lot, but like you also in game want to minimize his workload by like reducing the number of shots that he sees.
Hmm. Because like it doesn't matter how good your goalie is, you're not gonna win if your team can't score.
Yeah. And it's like you also just like as much as it's like, oh, but this thing of where it's like we we get outshot, but we still win because we score more goals is like not going to work against every team.
No, very much not.
So yeah, shoot more. And also, work a little bit stronger defensively to not um allow just Full to face 39 shots.
Yeah,
Common sense, I fear.
yeah. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. So Leafs play tomorrow against Buffalo. I do not know who is going to start that game because then they play Saturday at home against the New York Islanders. Now, here's something to keep in mind. Elliot Friedman today tweeted out that Matt Murray could potentially be a goaltending option for the Toronto Maple Leafs soon.
Hmm.
T- Tomorrow is the NHL holiday roster freeze, which is a date where from the 20th of December to the 28th of December, NHL teams are not allowed to trade or call up. But it does mean that even though the NHL's rosters get frozen tomorrow at 5 p.m., teams still play games. There's still a bunch of games that happen. So if you have, there are some exceptions you can do. I think you're allowed to do like emergency goalie call-ups because you have an injury, because that just is like
There's
common
not
sense,
what you
I feel.
can do.
Yeah. But in terms of, trades or things like that, claiming people off waivers, all that sort of thing, not happening.
Not allowed.
So there's been some shuffle, but it'll have to that decision of like whether you'll um use not use, but like whether you'll send Dennis Hill to be back down, call up Matt Murray, have Matt Murray start one of these two games, either tomorrow in Buffalo,
Hmm.
which means he probably should be in Buffalo, right? but who knows? No one's like stalking out at the airport looking for him. Or Saturday at home against the Islanders, um, you have to call him up tomorrow. Like you have to call him up tomorrow, or you can't use him until the 28th. And so then you're rolling with Joseph Woll and Dennis Hildeby, which isn't like the worst thing in the world, but I know like Matt Murray is still Matt Murray, and even though he's come back from injury, he did get a shutout with the Marlies against Wilkes-Barre yesterday.
He did. And what a shout it was.
Yeah, so we'll see what the Leafs decide to do with their goaltending situation. I mean, you know, you kind of know, like, okay, Joseph Woll is your starter, but like you have three options as your backup. You have Dennis Hildeby, you have Matt Murray, you have Artur Akanyemov. So you'll see what you can do. Moving more into some so as we're talking about, you know, the roster freeze and things like that. We had a bit of a mini trade deadline yesterday night. The first one was Capo Caco traded from the New York Rangers to the Seattle Kraken, which I don't want, not that I think it comes as like a shock, but um, you know, he did have those comments that he made uh yes earlier this week just about the organization, about where he sees his development going. Apparently that has nothing to do for the why he was traded, but he was traded to Seattle for Will Borgen, who's a defenseman who, you know, I always think he's like 22, he's 27. Round a third round pick in the 2025 draft and a sixth round pick in the 2025 draft. So yeah.
I always thought it was like young. You learn something new every day.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, Kapokaka, who was selected second overall in 2019 by the New York Rangers, they like I really do think he's going to benefit from being in Seattle, mostly just because New York Rangers suck at developing players.
Yeah. Big
Like
time.
notably are really bad at developing players. So, you know, hopefully, you know, him being in Seattle, he has an opportunity to become a better player and really grow his game and things like that. He's an RFA at the end of the season as well, so we'll see. You know, that could have been part of it. Is New York Rangers felt like they didn't weren't going to be able to, you know, despite still maintaining his signing rights, weren't going to be able to get him signed to a contract. So you trade him to a team that you think, you know, might be able to get that done. But yeah, there was another one as well. St. Louis Blues traded Pierre-Olivier Joseph back to Pittsburgh for future considerations.
Because
Kyle Dubas and Doug Armstrong love to trade together. But yeah, he's back to Pittsburgh, separated from his brother, which, you know, sucks, but what can you do? You know, I think some of that was just St. Louis's blue line was getting full with players returning from injury, and Pittsburgh is having spots open on their blue line. So I do wonder though, is there a limit for like how many times you can trade a player between two teams for future consideration? Because like, what if you just like traded a guy? Like, what if like you and GM were just like, what if we just like trade this guy back? I mean, it would suck for the player because he'd have to like hop back and forth between cities. Never mind. This is turning into a really bad idea of like where some people are gonna be like, Emma, maybe think about like workers' rights before you say this idea of just like a team like sharing a player and they just like send them, like they trade them back and forth for future considerations.
I feel like, I mean, technically it could happen. It's definitely just like morally wrong.
Yeah. It is definitely morally wrong, but, like, it's not is it that different from, like, standing up and calling back down, like, a guy from the AHL?
Mm,
No one is going to do it because you would have to be really good friends with, like, the GM that you're trading like, that you're doing this with. But, like and also maybe slightly infringes on, like, player rights,
mhm.
and just is, like, kind of a shitty thing to do to a guy.
Like, could you imagine if, like, you'd been doing it with, like, the same team over and over again, and then he trades him somewhere else, and he's like and then it starts, like, this feud.
Yeah. Also as well, Alexandre Carrier from Nashville was traded to Montreal for Justin Barron. It's I don't really understand. They're two right-handed defensemen. Alexandre Carrier is older than Justin Barron is and is on a more long-term contract, so I don't look, I don't know what's going on with Nashville. They're
Something, but it's not good.
still they're still bad. I mean, the New York Rangers lost to them, got shut out by Nashville, so but we'll talk about New York Rangers. I did want to talk about New York because I don't know if you've seen this article or at least if you've been on Twitter today. It's been kind of a big
Mm, I've seen snippets.
you've seen snippets of that article that went out today
Yeah.
about the New York Rangers.
Mm. I feel like I don't have, like, full context of it, because when it comes to stuff, especially about, like, the Rangers, I rely on my timeline to just show me what's relevant. Um, so I've seen, like, bits, but whatever's
It
going on over there does not look good.
no. Um Here, I'll pull up this article and we can walk our way through it. But yeah, this article that went up, if I just go to New York Rangers front office.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this report was put out by Vincent Mercogliano from uh, Rockland Westchester Journal News. And it kind of walks through some pretty major culture problems that are happening with the New York Rangers. One of them, like it kind of talks through like the hockey side of things with like Jacob Trouba and Barclay Goodrow as well and that sort of stuff. But then it, there's ever since Chris Drury came in as GM, there's been this really kind of big shuffling of personnel and a lot of firings that have gone on, and it's kind of affected morale. Um, and you, yeah, and it talks about how the big one I think for me was like the talk about the fact where it's like you can't um like team staff are not meant to interact with players outside of what allows them to accomplish the scope of their job. So like the
Yeah.
minimum so like you're like so for example, say you're part of the social team, unless you're explicitly producing content for social media, you're not allowed to like interact with the players.
Uh, mm,
How can any sort of like relationship of trust be built there?
mm. Like,
Like
that.
especially when it comes to role like and the same thing goes for like trainers. It's like all team staff. This applies to all team staff.
Mm,
So like your trainers and your equipment managers, like there has to be a level of trust and a relationship that gets established there between the players and those employees
Hmm.
because it's your trainers, you want to be able to talk freely about, what's going on if you're injured because, if you can't really you feel like there's not a level of trust there because you don't have that relationship because you've not been allowed to build that relationship. And I don't even mean it in an improper way. I mean it simply as a way of like interacting with your coworkers,
Yeah.
right?
You have to be able to be friends with people, or like the vibes are gonna be like way off.
And which is, I think, what we've now, like, what we've noticed, and I think what a lot of
Hmm.
people are noticing is just like the vibes within that organization, like something is off. And this report, definitely kind of establishes that there
Hmm.
is something off, with the vibes with the team. Yeah, it was just like it was bad. There was also, there was uh a PR person who got fired for having dinner with a player following a media event prior to the new season, which um is probably someone who went down with the players to like the media tour, the NHL media tour that's at the start of the season
Hmm.
that usually gets held in Las Vegas.
Hmm.
If you're like the only guy like from your team, because they usually send you down there with they send a player, they'll send a PR rep, and maybe someone for like maybe a social
Hmm.
like a social media manager
Yeah.
to capture like behind the scenes content of the press stuff.
Hmm.
Like maybe, right? Maybe. I don't think the Leafs sent someone down this year. But you do send a PR person, right? So if you're a player and the only person from your organization who's down there with you is like your PR rep, like any work trip, you're gonna go out
Hmm.
with to dinner with the person that you work with. Like it's creating this level of like a level of hierarchy among employees. And yes, I know like these are like professional hockey players. This is still like a workplace where
Hmm.
like
It's still a job.
people work together and it's like it like you're allowed to have friendships with the people that you work with.
Yeah.
I know, so there's and I say this as someone who aspires to work in sports in that aspect, but like yes, you have to maintain like a sense of like professionalism there,
Hmm.
but like
That's the case with like
all
every job
jobs,
there.
like it's like oh, so you're not allowed to like even like interact with them. And like this article goes on, and I will link the full thing in the show notes because like I really do think everyone needs to read this. But like it was like they're meant to unless like staffers were told that absent written approval from an executive vice president or above, they were prohibited from staying at the same hotel as any of the teams under the MSG umbrella. That includes the minor league Hartford Wolfpack and Western Knicks, traveling on team flights or buses, or attending team social gatherings or meals, according to this memo that was sent out across the MSG organization, which is Rangers and Knicks. Um, okay, the one that got me is team flights.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, do you want me to just pack my bags and walk?
Well, it's the thing too where it was like that explains like kind of the lack of social media content that
Mm.
we've gotten from the New York Rangers, like
Yeah.
where it was those like walk-ins where they posted like CCTV
Yeah.
like footage. Like, yeah, no duh, if this is what they have to put up with, like, yeah, no worry. Like, no wonder they have to rely on security camera footage to get
Yeah.
content of their players pregame. Like, if they can't even interact with them. But like it's also as well as like so you mean so like if you, for example, work as because this is like again, I don't know how easy it is to get this written approval or if there's just like some roles within a team that get automatic written approval. But like if you're a trainer or like an equipment manager, and you are with like the Hartford, like keep in mind this also applies to minor league teams. So you're with the Wolfpack, you're with Hartford, and you and AHL teams, they travel by bus everywhere.
Mm.
What do you do?
Like what? Like like what? It genuinely just doesn't make sense.
Or like if you work for the Rangers again and you're an equipment manager or you're a trainer or you're a like a PR, you're part of the PR staff, you you're on their social media team, whatever that may be of like part of the team, and you can't travel, like what? You're not staying in the same hotel as them, not even on the same floor. Like you can't be in the same hotel. And then like what do they do when they go to Ottawa? And I'm saying this because the arena is so far away from downtown that most teams either stay at the one nice hotel that's out by the arena or they
Mm.
stay in downtown Ottawa and have to bus the 45 minutes out to the arena. But you can't do that because you can't be on the team buses. Like, how are you meant to do your job? And it's like also as well as like
Mm.
staffers. Okay, so how far does that extend?
Yeah.
Does that extend all the way to the coaching staff?
Mm.
I would assume not.
No.
And I assume then they're given like automatic written approval. But like, can you imagine if you're like an equipment manager and every road trip you have to like ask an executive vice president or higher at MSG, "Hey, can I travel with the team? I'm their equipment manager."
It just
It's crazy.
that's not how you create a positive work environment.
Yeah, this memo also goes on to read that it's mandated that employees keep as much distance as possible at the rink. Interactions between employees and players or coaches must be strictly limited except as necessary to satisfy the requirements of an employee's role. Failure to comply with the directives set forth in this memorandum may result in disciplinary action, including without limitation, termination of employment.
That's crazy.
Like, what?
It doesn't make sense.
And I can't imagine then how isolating it feels for the players as well.
Yeah, because then it's like you have to go from like being friends with all these people.
Or not even so much friends, or has like
Just like
positive working
yeah, and you just
relationships
yeah, like
with these people where you say
you
hi to
know
them or
them.
you know stuff about them, be like, oh,
Yeah.
how's your kids, how's your wife, whatever.
To then
Nothing.
suddenly essentially being like placed above them and being like, oh, you can't talk to them anymore.
Do the players receive this? Like, imagine a player receiving this being like, dude, what?
Yeah, be sat there just like, what is going on?
Yeah, it just
It's crazy.
it by the sounds of this article then goes on to talk about how it is probably James Nolan who is the executive chairman and part of ownership of the of MSG, and how that's maybe some of it why, but um I don't know. I just
Not a fan
yeah,
of
it's
the vibe that they have created.
and it obviously is reflecting to kind of the attitude in the locker room, which is then affecting the on ice performance.
Mm.
right? It's this very obvious trickle-down effect that's taking place.
Yeah. And it just becomes like how awkward can we make the vibe in this team? The
Yeah.
answer is very apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just, yeah,
It's weird.
it's just like it also seems as well like there's not necessarily like a way out of this besides like blowing up that front office.
Mm, yeah.
But yeah. And there yeah, so moving on into some other news. So Face Off season 2 has been confirmed, which was the Prime series put on by the producers of Drive to Survive. And the only confirmed player participating that we have as of right now is Brady Tkachuk, which instills a deep sense of fear of the fact that like it's going to be too many people inside like family business, aka the Ottawa Senators.
Mm,
Like nobody needs to be paying this much attention to the Ottawa Senators.
literally.
But yeah, so it will be cool. I mean, there was sort of an interview, not interview. There was a couple of questions that were asked to Brady Tkachuk by like the Sens like team reporter, just kind of about like what he's looking forward to about being involved in the series again. Because like he was in it last year with his brother, because his brother was in it. Um, and he made a couple of cameo appearances. And he's like, I'm just excited to show people around Ottawa, like to show kind of what Ottawa's like. And I was like, if I so much as like the land, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like if he
Mm.
walks into a restaurant and I recognize exactly what restaurant it is, so help me.
Yeah. So just like you'll sit there and just be like, why? What is my life?
It also like I am also then intrigued as into like more so into if they will show more than just the playoffs. I know last year that was really focused on the playoffs, arguably so because it's hard to get non-hockey fans, who is the target demographic for the
Mm.
show, by the way. Like you and I, we're not the target demographic for this. This is a way to get new fans into the sport, new fans into um into into hockey and into the NHL.
Mm.
And so
I
if uh
need.
I wonder if then if they're like kind of really committing to like, hey, the Ottawa Senators are going to make the playoffs, or if they're going to like expand to like outside of the playoffs, it's
Mm.
going to cover a little bit more of the regular season.
Because you know what I need? I need just some guy from the fourth line of a random team who's gonna
I
become
want the
like
random depth
the
piece who's
people's
like a really
princess.
fun guy. Yeah,
Like give us whimsy. Also, I want more girlies.
I want more gold. Yes, yeah.
Give
There
us
was
Eric Comrie.
this literally. Yeah, no, I think
That
they should give
man.
us
I would
he
love it.
literally. Eric Comrie could have his own reality TV show. It was like
Please. I just want to just like follow him around.
I just want to follow Eric Comrie around. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just so whimsical. But it's like give us like yeah, you can have like all the big stars, but if you don't give us someone who will like just become the people's princess because he's some guy from the fourth line of a random team who then becomes widely beloved, I don't want it. Give us give us that. Give us the whimsy, give us the random guy. G- Give us more. I just want more girlies. I
Me
think girlies
too.
are a great way to get people into it because they're just really, really fucking weird. Like, in an endearing way. Example, Eric Comrie. He's
Like
just a wonderful guy.
I don't know if you would agree to this, but like Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, I think it would be a little bit mean to do like to highlight a player who's retiring, But
Mm,
I don't know, just like I mean, because we did get to see Jeremy Swayman, but it was like half an episode,
yeah.
and he was what, the only goalie? But
I want an
like
episode just of goalies.
just like yeah, focus on more goalies.
Gathering as goalies.
Especially because like I think I know they don't necessarily play every night, but they do play the most. Like if you're looking at time on
Mm.
ice, right? So then I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like goalies, do the goalies. I don't know, Thatcher Demko, maybe he'd be into it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
You know, for us, maybe just a fool.
could you see Mr. I deleted social media when I joined the Toronto Maple Leafs, agreeing to be in a docu-series following him around?
Please.
I do want like different players than last year. Like I don't want to see the
Mm,
same guy again. And I think, that's kind of where you can differ from Drive to Survive, where Drive to Survive just covers like the 20-man Formula One grid. Whereas like
mm.
you have 32 teams full of guys to choose from.
We have a lot of guys.
A lot of guys, I don't know, Jeff Skinner.
Justin Hall.
Not where I was going with this. Yeah.
I think
I
Justin Hall could be fun. Zach Aston Reese.
Zach Aston Reese.
I just give us the blobbers. I'm sorry. I don't care about like the big famous,
Marketable
well-known.
players. Give us the
Yeah, I don't
bubblers.
care how marketable they are. Give us the blobbers, please. I need them.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think we might end it here. I have to go eat dinner, and we're having quesadillas. But and also as well as I feel like there's nothing else to talk about. We'll be back on Monday with another episode. It's Thursday today.
It is.
We'll be back on Monday with another episode. We'll have two brand new Leaf games to talk about.
Yeah,
And
mate.
yeah, two new Leaf. That's always really fun. Um, I mean,
Is
like
it?
Leafs are top. Well, Leafs are back right now. Weirdly enough.
Mm,
And it's like one of those things where I'm like, I don't even really look at the standings, and then I look at the standings and I'm like, oh,
like
the Leafs are leading the Atlantic. Oh,
that. Nice.
nice.
I still don't feel safe.
No, because I wasn't even looking to see where the Leafs were. I was looking to see the Ottawa Senators because they are in a playoff spot, and I was looking at some things. But we'll have two new Leaf games to talk about on Monday, and also whatever other news happens over that time. I don't know. Kyle Dubas could make another trade for future considerations. Who knows?
Damn, there's poor future considerations, guy. He's going all over.
He's getting sent around the league. But yeah,
That's our team.
with that being said, thank you guys so much. I think this one is going to end up a little bit shorter, but we
It's our
had
podcast. We can do what we want.
also in our defense, there was only one Leaf game to talk about.
Yeah.
But with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back on Monday with another episode. In the meantime, you can go follow Offside News on all social media platforms or read any of the articles. There's a ton of World Juniors coverage coming your way over at offsidenewsco.com. Or you can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. Or if you never want to miss another episode, you can follow the show over on Twitter at From the Fourth Line. That's fourth with the number 4TH. And if you miss the two of us between episodes, really so very much, and we're hilarious over there. You can follow us on Twitter as well at 60 Leafs for Marcie, at Parabee1 for myself. We'll be back with another episode on Monday. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for listening. Go Leafs, go.
Let's go.